morning, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. This morning, we're going to break down a series of bold, very controversial moves shaking the core of the U.S. politics and global diplomacy. Trump reinstates a sweeping travel ban of 12 countries and restrict others, igniting backlash and legal firestorms. Also, Biden is now under investigation because Trump orders a probe into the use of an auto pen, claiming it covers up cognitive decline. Gaza ceasefire blocked. The U.S. stands alone at the UN, vetoing a resolution backed by the world. Also, immigration officers told to arrest without warrants. Even collateral detentions are now fair game. And lastly, the health crisis is then coming because the GOP megabill could strip 11 million Americans of health care coverage. So let's jump right in. Because President Trump's recent executive order reinstating a travel ban on 12 countries, which is citing national security concerns, the ban affects nations including Afghanistan, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Chad, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Myanmar, Eritrea, Sudan, Yemen, and Haiti. And the administration argues that these countries have inadequate vetting processes and have been uncooperative in accepting deportees. And the move has sparked international criticism and is expected to face legal challenges. So let's kind of get into some of the hallmarks of this so we can get a better breakdown when it comes to each country and why they are either being banned from traveling to America or they have partial restrictions in traveling to America. When it comes to Afghanistan, the document highlights that the Taliban, which controls the country, is a specially designated global terrorist group. And the Afghan nationals that are here are overstaying their visas is also cited. So again, I think everyone can agree with Afghanistan. When it comes to Iran, we've always been very indifferent in Iran. We have not been allies with Iran. But it states that Trump's proclamation identified Iran as a state sponsor of terrorism. They've been labeled that for a very, very long time. And it states that the sponsorship of proxy groups operating in the region, such as Hamas and Hezbollah. So two very major terrorist groups. They're saying getting support from Iran. Trump says that the country is a source of significant terrorism around the world. So why should we have these people traveling to America? We don't know who's who. Again, very discriminatory, but we have to understand the larger picture. Whether you agree or disagree that in these regards, either he's being discriminatory or he's looking at the bigger picture of the security of America. Somalia, the East African country, is branded by Trump as a terrorist safe haven. Like Iran, it also accused of failing to accept its nationals when removed from the U.S. They're saying, hey, don't deport them here. We have enough problems. Well, these are your countrymen. These are your natives. No. We're not going to accept them. It also goes on to state that government faces a very significant challenge from armed Islamists, meaning that we don't know who's in control of the country. And when it comes to Libya, it's cited for his historical terrorist presence, which is painted as a security threat to Americans. I believe this is 1,000% false. Libya, when it comes to Libya, that is 1,000% false in my opinion. Haiti, hundreds of thousands of illegal Haitian aliens flooded into the United States during the Biden administration, now including the creation of criminal networks and high visa overstays. Data from the U.S. Census Bureau suggests that more than 852,000 Haitians were living in the U.S. in February of 2024, though it does not give a breakdown of when those migrants arrived, because basically some of these immigrants, some of these migrants could absolutely be legal residents or legal visa card holders. And quite frankly, here's just a map of the countries that have been either restricted or banned. The ones that are in deep red are the ones that banned, and the ones that are in a pink are visa restricted, okay? These are visa restricted. So Cuba, Venezuela, kind of daunting that Venezuela is not banned, but they're partially restricted. Then you have all these other countries. Now, majority of these countries are in Africa, if you notice that. So you have the continent of Africa shaped in white. Then you have Somalia, Burundi, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Togo is partially restricted. Sierra Leone is partially restricted, but you also have Chad, Libya, Sudan, Eritrea. Yemen is in the Middle East here. Iran, Afghanistan, Turkmenistan is in the Middle East. Laos is partially restricted. It's an Asian country, and Myanmar is also an Asian country as well. So again, Haiti, Caribbean country. Okay, so when we look at the dynamics and demographics of the breakdown of the countries that are being banned. Now, Chad is signaled out for showing a blatant disregard for United States immigration law. So that is why they have been banned. It goes on to state that the document highlights an overstay rate of almost 50% from people who are from the country of Chad on business or tourist visas in 2023, given a report by the Department of Human Services. Congo, as well as Equatorial Guinea, have equivalent rates of around 30% and 22% respectively, but these rates are lower than Laos, which faces a lesser restriction. Myanmar, referred to as Chad in the Trump proclamation, is similarly accused of high visa overstay rates, and that the country is further accused of not cooperating with the U.S. to accept deported Burmese nationals. You have Eritrea, Sudan, and Yemen. It states that the first allegations made by Trump is that they have questionable competence at issuing passports and civil documents, meaning that their government is not intact. Eritrea and Sudan are further accused of having relatively high visa overstay rates. Eritrea also blamed for failing to make the criminal records of its national available to the U.S. and of refusing to accept deported nationals, because basically the U.S. government is stating, give us the records, the civil records of the nationals that are trying to immigrate to the United States of America so we can see their criminal past, if any. And if you're not supplying that, then we're going to ban and or restrict people from traveling to the United States from these countries. Yemen is also accused of lacking control over its own land. We don't know who's in charge of it. We either be the terrorist groups or the civilian government, because the U.S. have been combating Houthis who have seized much of the north and west of the country during an ongoing civil war. Venezuela. Allegations of visa overstays and refusal to accept deportees are again mentioned in response. The South American country had described the Trump administration as supremacists who think they own the world. I can see that. And in a lot of regards, I can agree. And it stated that the alleged refusal to accept deportees is also mentioned as our visa overstays. Visa overstays are again present as a key issue in the case of Burundi, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, and Turkmenistan. So again, these are a lot of the countries that the Trump administration has, banned and or restricted because of visa overstays or sometimes to terroristic groups. Now, when we look at the following 7 countries that are subject to partial travel restriction, you have Laos, Burundi, Togo, Sierra Leone, Cuba, Venezuela, Turkmenistan. We have to look for these nations. The restrictions primarily targeted non-immigrant visas, including B1, B2, that's business and tourism, okay? That is what they're mainly targeting. You have all these different categorizations. B1, B2 are business and tourism. F is for students, M is for vocational student, and J is exchange visitor students when it comes to visas. Immigrant visas are also affected. However, certain categories, such as lawful permanent residents and individual whose entry is deemed in the U.S. national interest, are exempt, but they have to be deemed in the U.S. national interest. Now, when you have these countries with full travel bans, Afghanistan, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Yemen, Sudan, Eritrea, Burma or Myanmar, Chad, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, and Haiti, citizens from these nations are barred from entering the U.S. under any visa category, both immigrant and non-immigrant. And the administration justified these bans by citing inadequate vetting procedures, lack of cooperation in accepting deported nationals, and concerns over terroristic activities. So again, I can give a whole breakdown of how these countries are being restricted. But let's look at why Venezuela faces partial but not full restriction. Now, despite concerns over criminal elements entering the U.S. from Venezuela, the country is subject to partial rather than full restriction. Now, this is why I kind of believe the rationale includes because Venezuela's government is deemed incapable of issuing trustworthy passports and civil documents. The country has historically refused to accept its nationals who are subject to deportation from the United States of America. And a large population of Venezuelans that come to America, Venezuelan nationals, have a significant rate of overstaying their visas, particularly in the B1, B2 category. Now, a complete ban might have broader humanitarian implication given the ongoing crisis in Venezuela and the number of asylum seekers. Additionally, many Venezuelans in the U.S. are under temporary protective status, even though that status is slowly being wiped away, or some of them having pending asylum applications, which that again is being restricted and decreased and complicating the enforcement of a full ban. So the reinstatement and expansion of the travel ban have sparked significant debate, and the supporters argue it's a necessary measure for national security, while critics view it as a discriminatory and politically motivated piece of jargon. And this poses legal challenges. They're going to come to weight and are very anticipated. So again, when we look at these complexities of the travel ban, is it discriminatory or is this national security? Those are the questions that people are asking. Those are the questions that people are asking. Now, President Trump has ordered an investigation into former President Biden's cognitive health decline during his tenure as president. The probe focuses on the use of an auto pen to sign official documents, raising questions about the legitimacy of certain executive actions and pardons. While the use of an auto pen is not unprecedented, the Trump administration alleges that it was used to conceal Biden's declining mental capacity. This investigation could have significant implication for the validity of decisions made during Biden's presidency. And what this is about is going to be very punitive to the Biden administration and whoever had dealings or contact with this auto pen, because if they can prove during the Biden's presidency that he was in cognitive decline and that other associates, advisors, State Department, whoever was in place, even Kamala Harris, the VP at the time, was using the auto pen, using the president's name, and he was in a cognitive decline, we can look at pardons being overturned. We can look at executive orders that became law being overturned. So that means that anything that the Biden administration done under that auto pen will be overturned. So that means that the people that President Biden has pardoned, they will no longer be pardoned because it would be fraudulent. So they would then have to go out and capture or ask for the return of people who were pardoned who were incarcerated. Because again, they prove that the Biden administration and Biden himself was in a state of cognitive decline and did not make rational decisions by allowing people to use his auto pen. So again, can open up a whole whirlwind of other issues and problems, making the Trump administration more complex in all the dealings what they have with banning countries, the trade war, trying to stop international war, whether it be Hamas and Israel, Pakistan and India, Russia, Ukraine. There's so much going on. And this is just adding to the very dynamic complexity of the Trump administration. But nonetheless, a lot of American people, and I'm especially on the right, I would like to believe, they want this investigation to happen to see, like, Biden pardoning his son, Biden pardoning Ouchie Fauci, All of these has the potential of being overturned. So again, I'll keep you guys updated with the most important news updates. If you're new to Blacklogic, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you're notified every time I go live or release a video. Now, as we turn to international affairs, the United States have vetoed a UN Security Council resolution calling for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. And the resolution, supported by 14 other council members, aimed to address the humanitarian crisis in the region. The U.S. justified its veto by stating that the resolution failed to condemn Hamas and did not link the ceasefire to the release of hostages. This decision has drawn criticism from various nations and humanitarian organizations. So this is not going away for a very, very long time. Very complex issue. This is a very complex issue. Now, there has been some new directives that have been issued to the U.S. immigration officers, instructing them to increase arrests, even without proper warrants, even without warrants altogether. And the policy shift emphasized collateral arrests where individuals encountered during operation that is targeting others that could be detained. While the administration argues that this is necessary for national security, civil rights groups, not black civil rights groups, but civil rights groups express concerns over potential violation of constitutional rights. I wonder if a lot of federal judges are going to come out and stop and negate the actions of arresting potentially illegal immigrants without warrants, because again, they're going to bring up due process and the lack thereof. Now, what's the most important to, I believe, a lot of Americans is what you see right here on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. How roughly nearly 11 million people will lose health insurance under the House Republican tax bill, mostly due to cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. And that's imperative to note that the Congressional Budget Office is nonpartisan, because the GOP, they propose a megabill which has raised alarms over potential health care coverage losses. Now, again, according to the Congressional Budget Office, approximately 11 million people could lose health insurance if the bill passes. The bill aims to roll back Medicaid expansions and make significant changes to the Affordable Care Act. And of course, those critics, they argue that this would disproportionately affect low-income individuals and families. Now, it goes on to say that the CBO's latest report estimates that the 10.9 million people will be uninsured over the next decade if the spending package, which includes much of President Trump's legislative agenda, were enacted. The total includes an estimated 1.4 million people in state-funded health programs without verified citizenship, nationality, or satisfactory immigration status. The legislation would impose new restrictions on states that use their own money to provide health insurance for illegal immigrants. They always love to say undocumented. Undocumented means that you're illegal. So nonetheless, I want to know you guys' thoughts on this, because is this targeted at the American citizen, or is this mostly targeted and concentrated to those people who are in our country illegally? That is the question that I have. So again, if that is it, then is this a bad thing if it's going to roll back the expansion and it's going to affect only those who are in the country illegally? Then in my opinion, I would deem that's a very good thing, because that means that other millions of Americans can now be provided care, which is intended for in the first place. Now, last but not least, I have a video clip for you guys. I want to know your thoughts on this. Please leave your comments below. Thank you for joining me here this morning. Let's get right into this video clip. Please let me know what you guys think.
Get away from my car.
Come on!
Get away from my car.
Really, you? Boy? Get out of your car, boy! Son!
Go somewhere, crazy.
No, I'm not crazy. Get out of your car now.
You don't
Yeah,
want me to
eating your McDonald's?
You don't
Get
want
out
me
of
to
your
go
car,
outside.
asshole.
Get your order straight.
Come on. Come on now. I'm so ready to fight club this shit. Let's go. Come on.
No.
Come on. Oh,
No.
pussy. Pussy. You're a fucking pussy. Get a degree. Go to school.
I am what I
Go
eat.
to school.
I am what I eat. You see my car
You're eating
versus your car.
McDonald's? You're eating McDonald's? Go to school.
You see my car versus your
Go
car.
to-
Bye. Bye.
Make $1 million a year, you
But you eat at
fucking
McDonald's.
son. No, I'm not eating at McDonald's. I was getting a coffee at McDonald's. You?
That's not
$2
eating.
bill?
That's not eating. Take your ass on.
Get out of your car, pussy. Get
Go
out of
home.
your car.
Go home.
I'm here. No,
Go home.
come on.
Go home, Miss
Come on.
Washington. Take your ass home.
Come on. No, get your ass out of your car. Are you gonna post this? Because you look like a pussy right now. A pussy with your